If you've watched any of my videos before now, you probably know that I'm a bit of a wordsmith. I really love to figure out the exact best wording to express something or to describe something. But recently, I have had a bit of a description challenge. My brother has been asking me to write up descriptions of things that he can read in an online video game he has going with some of his friends. But the challenge is that I cannot actually use any character reactions to what they're seeing. I only describe what they see. And to me, that makes it infinitely harder, because how can you possibly describe what something is like without showing the reader how the character responds to it? Whether they go toward it or away from it, or what face they make, anything, just so that you know how someone reacts. That tells you what you're looking at. But that challenge has gotten me thinking about one of my 3 favorite topics. These topics, if you get me started on them, you should probably be prepared for me to talk for a long while. One of them is Jesus. The other is salvation.
I love it.
And the third is heaven. But what's interesting about heaven is that we don't have a whole lot of description of heaven. Very few people in Scripture had the opportunity to go and come back in order to describe it to us. A couple in the New Testament and some in the Old Testament. And if you look at the Old Testament descriptions of heaven, it comes across very confusing. I mean, there's like wheels within wheels all covered in eyes or something like that. There's like an emerald rainbow thing going on, and then there's the cherubim, which I won't even try to describe, but it's all, I don't know what I'm looking at here. But Isaiah, when he had the chance to get a glimpse of God on his throne, of whatever there was to see, his reaction to it tells me what I'm seeing. You would think his reaction would be, wow, this is the most glorious place I've ever seen. Instead, it was, woe is me, for I am undone. Basically, my eyes are not pure enough to be looking at this. My lips are not pure enough to ever retell this. I have looked upon what no man can see and live, and I'm going to die. That's pretty much his reaction. And I love the word undone. To me, it says he has glimpsed what is unfathomable, and his mind just starts to unravel. That's the picture I have. And then there's the Apostle Paul. He got to see heaven, but God wouldn't even let him talk about it. He didn't even try to describe it. But we do have Paul's reaction to it. And honestly, I don't know the order in which things happened, whether he speaks of heaven before or after he actually visits there. But he talks about heaven like he knows of which he speaks. So I'm going to assume it happened after. But basically, Paul is talking about, here I am on earth, and I have a very important purpose. And Paul's purpose, I mean, basically, his job was to take the gospel to the world. I mean, he took it to the Roman Empire, and then they took it everywhere else. So hugely important for him to be here. But he says, I am torn in 2 directions, hard pressed on either side. Yes, it's more necessary for me to be here, but I desire to depart and be with Christ, which is better by far. And so if you think of Paul's life, taking the gospel to the entire world, yes, that's nice, but heaven is better by far. You know, he's one of the most famous people in history. Everybody knows who the Apostle Paul was. That's nice, but heaven, better by far. And the things he wrote have been read by zillions of people. Yeah, but heaven, better by far. And then there was John, the apostle. And he actually does a pretty decent job of describing heaven. I say decent, it was all scripture, so it's all good. But, but his description makes a little more logical sense. You could actually kind of picture it. I'm still lost. I don't know what heaven looks like still yet today, but makes more sense. But what I love is his reaction after he gets through it. It's kind of, an angel is taking him on a tour, and he's kind of making a note of all the building materials and the dimensions and everything so he can write it down later. And then it's kind of with the angel, and now here concludes our tour. And John just smack down on his face falls down and worships. And unfortunately, it's the angel he's worshiping because the angel's standing right there. And the angel says, no, I'm just a servant of God. Don't be doing that. And personally, I think John knew better than to worship angels. I mean, he knew Jesus personally. He had just finished talking with Jesus. He'd taken dictation for some letters Jesus wanted to send. And he was there when Jesus said, you're supposed to worship the Father in spirit and truth. He wrote that down. So I think he knew who he was supposed to worship, but I think in the moment he just got bowled over by heaven. I mean, there is no other response. What do you do but fall on your face and just worship oozes out, and the poor little angel got caught in the crossfire. I mean, what else do you do? I seriously wish I could describe heaven to you, that I could describe it to myself, but I can tell you, just based on the reactions of the people who saw it, heaven has to be unbelievable. It has to be unimaginable and indescribable. So obviously I myself have never seen heaven, but I did want to share with you my reaction to heaven, and it is a song. It's called Head in the Clouds. My head's in the clouds, I'm not coming down. This is the sound of a person who's ready. He gave me his promise, and I have said yes to his offer of love. Forever and ever, all my white garments are packed in my hope chest from my home above, where I'll spend forever. My head's in the clouds, I'm not coming down. This is the sound of a person who's ready. All of my treasures are all sent ahead for my heavenly home, where nothing can get them. I'm camping with 10 pegs all loosened and ready for me to go home. Take me to heaven, my head's in the clouds, I'm not coming down. This is the sound of a person who's ready. The day that you bought me, you scraped it all off me, what held on to me, and put me in slavery. All that is tying my life to this dying world, break it free. Don't leave me waiting, my head's in the clouds, I'm not coming down. This is the sound of a person who's ready. You have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, you also will appear with him in glory. With my mind set on your holiness, I'm distracted from this empty place. I'm surrounded by your warm embrace till I see your face. With my mind set on the things above, I'm enraptured by your glorious love, captivated by the fullness of your grace. Take me to heaven, my head is in the clouds, and I'm not coming down. Listen to the sound of a person, a nation, a world that is ready. Come and part the clouds by the wind, and come down and listen to the sound of a person, a nation, a world that is ready. All of my days I have dreamed of the praise I would offer to you. Worship forever, starting today, let my anthem of praises be offered to you.